I've come back, and today I want to talk a little bit about starting a new project with Unreal and when you're feeling like you're running out of ideas for inspiration, what you can do. As well as, being able to look at other people's movies, shorts, the movies that have been shot and you really love, and video games. I talk a little bit about drawing inspiration when you're kind of stuck after work in the CG Spectrum podcast. But today we're gonna try and look at AI and throwing random prompts at it. So what I did is I have a Midjourney account. So I go into their Discord, and basically I wanted to living in Pacific Northwest and I love hiking and all sorts of foresty hikes and crime podcasts. I figured this is the kind of prompt that I'm gonna use. I made Midjourney imagine a mysterious tree house with crows flying on top, campfire on the ground, on a stormy, foggy day in a dense forest. Photorealistic, and then I put Unreal Engine because I saw some people do that. I don't know if it makes it in the style of a Lumen render or pet tracing render, and it might not be necessary. But so how I come to this prompt is basically this. I started out by saying a magical tree house. There's some ridiculous stuff here, which makes me laugh. Look at this one. Abraham Lincoln taking a selfie with a crowd of men and women. More power to you. But let's see. There must be a faster way to do this. I am not a Midjourney expert. I use it only to save my life a little bit here. We're about there. All right. So I started with a magical tree house on a stormy day, foggy day in a dense forest. How did I come to this? I know that I want to make some sort of a forest scene. I'm excited about the Quixel Megascan's new forest assets, European trees. And I just derive the inspiration from something that I like doing, which is hiking and camping, right? And I wanted it to be magical because, well, as much as I love the next Airbnb tree house type of thing, basically I'm imagining if I walk into a forest and I see a tree house that kind of looks magical. I don't know. I was thinking it's gonna make a roof made of books or something. Why I was thinking that, I don't know. I've been watching Harry Potter lately again. But what it gave me is this beautiful layering of fog in a dense forest. And the forest isn't as dense as I would have imagined, kind of a fisheye lens. I do like how it used some of the trees as the roofing. And I worked through this idea. I like this color palette a lot. If you know my work a little bit, I really love foggy scenes. They just look super moody and fantastic. But I leaned in on it and I tried Magical Tree House with some bricks made of books, red hued wood on a stormy day, dense forest, photorealistic. What I got, it's kind of looking like maybe a Japanese garden or something, which is becoming super colorful. I do not want to go that route. I know that because this is going to be more whimsical and cute color palette wise. As a compositor and VFX artist, I'm always thinking about the mood I want to go. And I find it really helpful to just start from a mood. So, but what I like about this is that randomly it gave me a light here and I'm like, okay, this is a good idea to make everything kind of denser and foggy and use those atmospheric fog through some sort of a light. And I like the contrast of some sort of a red hue in the middle here. And maybe some pockets of more green stuff like Iceland green. Then, I leaned in on that and I was like, it's okay, but I really like the color palette and the trees in the background, so that's something to take home with, right? And I just save everything that I like here so that, you know, it gets better and better. By the time I was playing around with these few ideas, I felt like this would really benefit from some birds flying around. And I wanted to give it a creepier vibe to make it moodier. This is cool, but I'm not looking for some sort of a Middle Earth type of thing, this screen right bottom image. I like the composite of this one, how it frames everything. I like that you can see more dense forest with this one. We don't want to go too, you know, black and white between the foreground and background. And I like the red against the blue on this one. So these were some of the more, you know, red styles that I tried. And then I leaned back on, okay, now I know I want to bring the red hues through the windows. That's a good idea. But I want some birds on top. And I started playing around with that. And I made the birds into crows because that was just like kind of giving me a witch's cabin vibe. And I said, hold on a second, instead of putting a light through the path, what if there was a campfire? And as a happy accident, Midjourney put the campfire on some of these images right underneath the treehouse. And this was so creepy in a cool way because I didn't think that I want to put the house on fire per se. That's going to require a lot of Niagara knowledge, which would be fun, but I'm maybe only as good as putting a campfire with Niagara personally. But besides from that, I just really like the idea that this is such a maybe evil presence in the forest that it fuels itself with the fire underneath and it doesn't burn for whatever reason. So this would be a little bit too much, but I really like the idea of this. All right, so after this, I went in and said, okay, let me go kind of a different direction. And I like this idea of a whimsical house. I'm super into Airbnbs and staying in weird looking types of, you know, places. So, and I want to go to Iceland. You know, these are just thoughts in my head. So this is literally what I do. I wrote Iceland, beach, rock house, birds on top, because now I kind of really like what the birds bring into the scene. And this is what I started getting in an abandoned beach. And I'm thinking this could be a story, you know, like all these concepts that I got with different types of prompts. Just by seeing what it gives me and throwing in an idea, I really started liking the reflections on the ground. If this is going to be a beach scene, I don't really want to deal with the water systems too much because water is something really hard to make look real or photorealistic in Unreal. I think if I were to really do a water scene, I would kind of handle a lot of it with Houdini. But in this sense, I like the idea that, you know, I've been to Cannon Beach this weekend. So it's really important to just kind of go out and do something outside of your computer, outside of your comfort zone, just to drive some inspiration. Because, you know, when I was at Cannon Beach, this is kind of the scene that I was seeing. And it's pretty cool how the reflection on the ground makes it look so majestic. And that made me think of Iceland a lot. This is too much of a happy scene for me. And if you use Unreal, you know that it is a lot harder to get a good looking image like with bright sunlight. It's really cool to get some sunsets and stuff. Same with photography. If you know photography, you know that it really is to your benefit to get a little bit of a moodier day. And it just kind of like creates all these shapes, you know, backlighting, more of a magical, mysterious type of environment for you, rather than like that blatant sunlight directly on your face. And I really love Unreal's fog system. Basically, not that one. Lean on the idea for this one, a monochromatic Icelandic beach with maybe gray sand or black sand, and maybe there is some animal carcasses on the ground, something that shows us that this is abandoned, and the reflection on the ground. Maybe you're seeing water very far away, but it's low tide. And whoever this quirky person living in this quirky little house basically lives above the water when it's high tide. And then there's some seagulls on top of it. Maybe, who knows, maybe it was some sort of a weird spaceship that fell here and he just made a life out of himself in it. And it could even be a story told from the mouth of the crabs that are living on the beach. And, you know, I'm already imagining you could really get in on some of the details. Like, this is really cool. I don't want it to be a mansion like this. This is looking too much of a cool Airbnb. Hey, Airbnb, if you steal this idea, I will definitely rent this place. But yeah, I mean, your story can have a beginning, ending, middle in a short story. But if you're doing a showcase, I think it's really cool to start mid-action and just with some observations and through detail. That's just, to me, beautiful filmmaking wise. And it gets you going using Unreal, getting your creative juices going. And who knows, maybe you'll sell it as a concept and turn it into a longer short movie, or, you know, feature size movie. So my next step is going to be to try this out with Asus Color Space. Usually, you know, we're using the sRGB with Unreal, but I would like to ideally, whatever project that I'm going to do, then bring it into DaVinci Resolve, because I, as a person who has VFX and compositing background, I really love playing with the colors post-render and just kind of push it if I need to, and push the mood a little bit more without messing with the fidelity of my image. So the next part of this journey and trying to get back into creativity will be starting by setting up the Asus color space in Unreal Engine 5.2 early access. Thank you.